You will chazz it up. Chazz it up. Chazz it up. Chazz it up. Chazz it up.
You got chazzed.
What's up YouTube, Dal here from CHAZZED Games, bringing you an Armed Dragon Ojama ABC cut deck. Now, there are other versions of this deck that me and Joe have been working on, so if you want to see those, more important than not, smash that like button. If this video gets at least 50 likes, it will unlock the other versions that we have been playing around with, and trust me, they are incredibly spicy. We've stayed away from the standard plays of, let's just make Armed Dragon Rocket Link, or let's just make Armed Dragon Ojama. We've actually spiced it up. Now, I've split the deck into 3 engines. Of course, you've got the Armed Dragons here, you've got the Ojamas here, and you've got the ABC core here. Now, the idea behind the ABC engine itself is just to give you a competitive meta edge. We all know that the ABC is a 1-card combo that gets you into Infinity plus Buster. Now, the synergy between all 3 of these is the fact that they don't mind being discarded. So, Armed Dragon doesn't mind being discarded if it's activating a dragon effect. ABC pieces don't mind being discarded in general, and Ojamas again don't mind being discarded in general. At the end of the video, I'll show you a combo that will allow you to lock 4 of your opponent's zones and finish your board with an Armed Dragon level 10, an ABC Buster Dragon, plus an Infinity or a variation of those, and of course, Ojama King. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you do not miss out on any more upcoming content following the release of Blazing Vortex. So coming out, of course, tomorrow we will have Security Force, and then we're going to be leading into Metal Foes. We've got Dream Mirrors. We're also going to take a crack at making War Rocks slightly playable. So with all of that out of the way, and if you want to see the other version of this, let's get into today's profile. Now, I'm going to do it engine by engine, because then you can kind of work out what ones you kind of want to play and what ones you don't. Now, the only one that isn't really Chaz related is ABCs, purely because they would probably be replaced with like X, Y, and Z. Now, the reason we've not gone with that route is purely because I think this engine as a defensive option and aggressive option has the better balance. Now, we only play a very, very small engine, and the small engine we play is the A, 2 Bs, and a single C. Now, the reason we only play the small engine is because we don't want this to be too dominant. Once we've got it and resolved it and got the pieces into the graveyard, made our Buster Dragon, bought the pieces back, make our second Buster Dragon, that's all you need. Coming off the back of this engine, of course, we do have the double Galaxy Soldier, the single Orbital, and the single Union Driver, purely because through this combo, and keep in mind, Ojamas are lights as well, this gets you a defensive Infinity, which is very, very important to kind of protect the rest of your combos, protects your Armed Dragon chain link up, and it also protects your Ojama summons during the main phase 2 or towards the end of the phase as well. To make this engine as consistent as possible, we've got the Union Hangers, followed by the single Terraforming, and then 2 unauthorized reactivations, purely because the reason we've cut it to 2 is because you need this plus B. And because we're not going heavy on this particular engine, the idea is that if we open up one of this card, we have the ability to make a very, very powerful defensive, offensive, and interruptive board. The remaining 4 cards can then produce the Ojama plays, can then produce the Armed Dragon plays, and that's kind of where you want to be going for with those. We'll then go through the Ojama engine as well, purely because it is the second smallest. And now the Ojamas, we've got triple Ojama Pink. This is the brand new card that came out in Blazing Vortex. I really, really like this goofy guy. So if it is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard, you can activate the effect. Each player draws 1 card, then each player discards 1 card. Then if you discard an Ojama card, you can choose one opponent's unused monster zone, and it cannot be used until the end of your opponent's turn. So basically, comboing this off, as long as you ditch an Ojama card, which through the combo you should easily have access to, you're then going to be able to have the ability to pretty much lock your opponent down and out. So we've then got, of course, the 1 red, the 1 yellow, the 1 black, and the 1 green. Now, you can play blue in here. Now, blue, in my opinion, is more of a go second card, purely because of the fact that it needs to be destroyed by battle. So the only way you're going to utilize that is you're going to normal summon blue, you're going to ram it into one of your opponent's cards, and then you're going to get your additional effects off to build your board main phase 2. It's definitely doable, but in this particular engine, because we're not focusing heavy on any one particular engine and we're just utilizing the synergy that the 3 of them share, you don't want to go too heavy on the blues, because then you need to open up the blue, you need to be able to attack twice, if not 3 times, and survive those battles without losing your life points, is what I mean by that. to then play off from that. The only good thing about it is it is a 1-card combo, so you could play droplets and change it as well. You could also play the new Pot of Prosperity in here, because to get the combo going, you don't need to go through all of your cards. Once you've pretty much locked down 4 of your opponent's zones and you're sitting on an infinity to protect your current board, plus a Buster Dragon to kind of interrupt whatever card your opponent does put on the board, you should technically be winning the next turn, because they're not going to be able to use 4 of their zones. They're only going to be able to use 1 main monster zone and a link zone if they truly want to, and then from that point on, you're pretty much going to be able to win the duel from going from there. So the rest of your extra is a bit irrelevant. So if you want to up the consistency and you do have Pot of Prosperities, easily put them in. We've then got triple Ojama Match and double Ojama Magic. Now, these are part of the combo. That's where blue comes in to make this combo more consistently. But going first, this is the ideal combo starter, because your match ditches your magic, gives you the 3 of those, gives you your armed dragon, and gives you the pink. So the idea is you've got a pink to be discarded to get you to lock a zone and draw a card. You've then got Ojama Magic to get you your green, black, and yellow. Annoyingly with this, it has to add 1 of each. So you've got to be very, very careful, because if you open up any of the yellow, black, or green, this then becomes a dead card. So you've got to be very, very careful with the way you're utilising this. But again, this can just be free discard fodder off of the back of Buster Dragon as well. And keep it in mind, because they are all lights, you do want them in the graveyard, and it does help get you into your Galaxy Soldier play as well. Then moving on to the Mac Daddy Armed Dragon Funders. So we've got 2 Armed Dragon Funders level 3. 2 Armed Dragon Funders level 5, 2 Armed Dragon Funders level 7, and 2 that I'm still waiting on to arrive, Armed Thunder Dragon level 10s. Now, once they arrive, of course, happy days. Now, the one thing that makes this engine a little bit hard to deal with is the fact that all of the secondary effects of the 3, 5, and 7 only go off if they're discarded from the hand to activate a dragon's effect, not if they're just sent from the field to the graveyard. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of deal with and utilise at the best, but it does give you a single train straight up to the level 10, and the level 10 is just literally quick play during your opponent's turn, discard a card, or send 1 card technically from your hand to the graveyard, target 1 other card on the field, and if you do, destroy it. And if you do, this card gains 1,000 attacks. You're just going to constantly keep boosting it up. Now, obviously, the idea is you're going to discard 1 of the armed dragons, but in this particular combo, where the way we're going to play this is you're either going to end your board on him as a defensive option and a defensive outlet, or of course you're going to be using him as an extender, because if you ditch the 7 or the 5 gets you the 7 can then be ditched to get you 1 of your spells, which is either going to be your Armed Dragon Blitz, or of course it can be your Armed Dragon Lightning, or your Armed Dragon Flash. Again, still waiting for my copies to turn up, but they will be going straight in at this ratio. The last Wind Dragon we play is Tempest, because Tempest, not only can it search any of the dragons, but it can trigger all of these hand effects by discarding them to summon it, and if this is discarded as just general monster fodder, it will be in the graveyard that can then revive itself as a free extender later on. The last card we use, and it is the brand new one, is Greater Polymerization, because we are actually trying to summon out a fusion monster that requires specifically 3 monsters, and that is of course the Ojama King. Now, to make this a little bit more consistently, this should probably just be Polymerization, because the one thing that this doesn't allow you to do is bring out Ojama Knight. So if you want to make it more consistently, it has to be Polymerization, and it is a little bit more difficult or specific to resolve it, but once you do, I guarantee you, you'll 9 times out of 10 win the duel from that point on. So now let's move into the extra deck. So with the extra deck, we'll start off with the non-link monsters first. Of course, we've got our Nova and of course our Infinity. And then off the back of those for our fusions, we've got the Ojama Knight and the Ojama King, followed by double Buster Dragon. Now, obviously, the King specifically requires you to use green, yellow, and black, whereas Knight just requires you to use 2 Ojama monsters. So again, if you put Polymerization in instead of Greater Poly, you will be able to successfully bring this out. Now, the only reason I put Greater Poly in here was just to literally show you it can be used in here, and you're going to be making a King that is going to lock down 3 of your opponent's zones, and it can't be destroyed by card effect, and it can do piercing damage, but I mean, it's not going to do piercing damage on 0. But the idea that you just protect it from being destroyed by card effect just makes it a little bit harder for them to deal with, especially when it's a guard of 3k booty. Then moving into the link monsters, of course, we've got the Union Carrier, which pretty much just utilises your Galaxy Soldier plays. Verti Anaconda gets you into your King, or if you use Polymerization, also gets you into the Knight. You've then got your IP Masquerena, which can lead into Phoenix and Unicorn, pretty standard. but it can also lead into Appaloosa for 2 or 4 negates if you've brought back the ABC pieces off of Buster Dragon. It can get you into an Avramax coming off of the back with Union Carrier, because Union Carrier can't be linked summoned the turn it's summoned, so there's nothing about linking it during your opponent's turn. But what IP Masquerena can also do when you bring back the ABC pieces is it does allow you to get into the underworld of the closed world. This is the brand new Link monster that we got in Blazing Vortex, and it requires a minimum of 4 effect monsters. So you can also use one monster your opponent controls as material to link summon this card. If this card is link summoned, you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls. This link summon card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects unless they target this card. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monster or monsters from the graveyard, quick effect, you can negate the activation. Now, what I mean by this and what makes this card so good is the idea is that with IP Masquerena, by bringing back the A, B, and C pieces, that gives you technically your Link 5. That gives you your 4 effect monsters. But what it also does is, should your opponent actually get a Link 3 or 4 on board, you can just use them as a Link 1 material. So this gives you a lot of utility, even if you don't want to, and they have like a Link 2 as well, you could use that. But keep in mind, you've got to use specifically 4 effect monsters to make it, and if you've produced the full combo, you would have locked down 4 of their zones. So they're only going to be allowed to play with an extra monster zone and a main monster zone, and you're pretty much just starving them of resource. Should they survive, you go straight into your access code, because your access code will then be a boss monster, because it will have the ability, hopefully off the back of an IP Masquerena or Verti Anaconda, you're going to have Union Carrier engraved, so you've got a light and a dark. It's going to be gaining 2k. You could even make Phoenix to make it gain a fire banish to pop as well, and it just gives you a lot of utility. So that's pretty much it for the deck. Now to show you the specific combo that pretty much locks down your opponent's board and allows you to sit on an Infinity Buster Dragon and or a level 10 Armed Dragon. So I'm going to reset the board state and then we'll show you that combo. Okay, so the specific cards that you're going to need for this combo are Match, Magic, and Union Hanger. To get the perfect end board, you need Armed Dragon level 5 or 7 in your hand as well, or a form of getting to an extender. Now, we all know that Union Carrier is pretty much going to be a 1-card combo to get you into an Infinity and a Buster Dragon. The Armed Dragon is technically a 1-card plus discard ability to get you into your level 10, and that's where Match comes in. And then Magic itself, again, technically counts as, or more so Match, counts as a 1-card combo that gets you your Armed Dragon chain started, but can also get you the black, green, and yellow Ojamas from your deck to your hand. So, with all of that out of the way, let's start the combo off. So you're going to start off with Match. You can start off with Union Hanger if you want. It really doesn't matter which way you do it. You go with your Magic. Magic will then discard, and you're going to resolve this by gaining. So, first off, resolve Match, and Match is going to get you an Ojama Pink specifically, and it's also going to get you an Armed Dragon level 3. You would resolve this to give you additional normal summon of your Armed Dragon, which is going to go to the far right. Move these out of the way. There we go. Hand's going to be over here. And then, of course, you're going to resolve the Magic. Your Magic is then going to get you your green, blue, green, yellow, and black. There you go. To your hand. Now, it's very important that you don't actually discard these, purely because Greater Polling you need to control or have in your hand. So that's the annoyance, is we need like a Magicalized Fusion for the deck. But from this point on, of course, what you're going to be doing is you're going to use your Union Hanger to get you your B Buster Drake. Then from this point, you're going to normal summon your B, pretty much do the standard wombo combo of connect it with Union Driver, get rid of Union Driver. Now, I tend to use A because, I mean, you can use B, it does the exact same thing, but what A does is it gives you the material back from grave. If you use B, it gives you A and C in hand. So it really doesn't matter which way around you do it. It's just whether you want to take the material from the deck or whether you want to take the material from the graveyard. So we will do B just to deck thin that a little bit more, because why not? So you've got double B. You're going to put double B into the graveyard for, of course, your Union Carrier. Where are you? That one there. You're then going to trigger double B effect, which is going to allow you to add A and C. Now, these are pretty much your discard fodders. This is pretty much what you want to aim for. So then off of the back of this, what you want to do is you go with your Union Carrier, use the effect to connect it with a Photon Orbital. You then get rid of the Photon Orbital to give you your Galaxy Soldier, and we will eventually get a second Galaxy Soldier. Now, this is where it adapts a little bit more, and this might be where you need to have another Ojama in hand or get to a red, because, again, annoyingly, because we don't have the ability to use, Union Hanger, we can't use Union Hanger. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our Union Hanger to connect it with a Photon Orbital. You then get rid of the Photon Orbital to give you your Galaxy Soldier, and we will eventually get a second Galaxy Soldier. Now, this is where it adapts a little bit more, and this might be where you need to have another Ojama in hand or get to a red, because, again, annoyingly, because we don't have the ability to use yellow, black and green from the graveyard for our fusion, you need to keep them in hand. Whereas Ojama Pink says if you discard an Ojama, you lock down a 4th zone. So again, it alternates at that point, but from here you'd use Galaxy Soldier's effect, discard. Now it's entirely up to you if you discard the pink or the A or C, entirely up to you. You're going to get them in the graveyard eventually anyway. So you discard the pink, let's say you draw a random card, hopefully this is another Ojama, and you just discard, even if it's another pink, which is absolutely fine, because then as long as you discard an Ojama card, so it could even be like Magic or another match as well. As long as you discard that, you then lock out one of your opponent's zones. So done and dusted. You're then going to use the second Galaxy Soldier's effect and specifically going to send the C or A, either one of those pieces, to the graveyard. This then allows you to pretty much go to your opponent. Right, Nibiru me now, otherwise I'm going to lose. Or they're going to lose. You go Nova, Infinity. You've now got the ability to protect. If they do hit the Nova, the best thing about that is you have the ability to make an A, B, and C already, and you can sit on that, which is not ideal, but you know, after being the Nibiru, you're absolutely good to go from there. Then, of course, you've done all of your ABC stuff. You've set your hand up for your Ojamas. You've got your hand ready to go for your Armed Dragon. So now you're going to do the Armed Dragon engine, and it's pretty much whether you want to do the 7 now or the 7 later, doesn't really matter. But you ditch one off of the Armed Dragon, and you go into your Armed Dragon level 5. You then ditch off the 5 and go into the 7. I actually think this is the point, sorry, this might be the point where you need the 5 in hand, because then if your 5 is in hand, then this is where you just need to manage your resource to maintain you've got these. But keep in mind, you're also going to have 2 more cards to play around with. So as long as the 2 more cards are monsters, then you're good to go. This is just specific utility-wise. So if you had 5 in hand instead of the 7, you ditch the 5 to summon out your 7. The 5 that's just been ditched will allow you to search another 7, and then you'll ditch the 7 for the 7 to go into your 10, which will allow you to use the 7's effect in graveyard, which will give you, allow you to get an Armed Dragon card. Now you can go for Armed Dragon Flash if you want to. You can also go for Armed Dragon Blitz. Lightning is not so good because you need the monster on the board to give you that extender. So then obviously from this point on, you're either going to activate Blitz or Flash, whichever one you've got. Blitz will allow you to get another 10 out, which basically opens up your options. If you wanted to play rank 10s, you could. If you don't, then of course you don't need to. Now from this point in mind, keep in mind we've already locked down one of our opponent's zones using Ojama Pink. Now it's up to you whether you think the discard of a dragon card, or sorry, the discard effect to bump Armed Dragon to a 4K is worth it or not, but to be honest, it's probably not in my opinion. So what we're going to do here is we're going to link these together. We're going to go into Verte Anaconda. We're then going to use Verte Anaconda's effect to send Greater Polymerization from our deck to the graveyard, and that's going to allow us to fuse green, black and yellow in our hands, and that is going to bring out an Ojama King. Now if you manage to discard off of the pink correctly, you will have locked down 4 zones because King is going to lock down 3 more. If you haven't, King is still going to lock down 3. Now, before you do all of this, keep in mind you've got your A, B, and C pieces in the graveyard, so you're going to want to make sure you banish those, and that is going to allow you to bring out your Buster Dragon. So then, you will still have 2 cards left in hand to play around with. So we're just going to have 2 random cards. These are going to be banished, and then obviously your opponent's got 2 zones to play with. They've got the extra monster zone, and then they've got 1 main monster zone. Whatever they normal summon, you can Buster Dragon and banish. Whatever they try to activate to break your board, you can Infinity and negate it. You're then pretty much going to be able to go from there. You can, now obviously you don't have the ability to bring back Buster because you still don't have all the zones, so you'll be very, very careful on that. That is where the alternative comes in, whereas if you don't want to use Verte, you can use IP Masquerena. You don't lock down their zones, and you just go for a full-on board negate with the Link 5. Now, it's a very, very specific combo. Now, the opening hands of this, or the general hands of this deck, vary. To get this perfect board, you're looking at probably a 50-50 chance, because it does require very specific engines, or very specific elements. If you wanted to increase any particular element of this combo, you can do by increasing the engine. So if you're like, I really want to increase the chances of getting the ABC engine off, then you'd probably be building an ABC deck. If you're like, I want to increase the Armed Dragon engine, then you can increase that. If you want to increase the Ojama lock, which I think is so fun, it's not the best, but it's very, very fun, then of course you would increase the Ojama influence on the deck and do it that way. And like I said, me and Joe have been playing with so many different versions of this deck. And what we want to do is we wanted to make it fun, we wanted to make it competitive, and we wanted to be able to showcase what it can do at its max potential and its lowest potential as well. Now, obviously, its lowest potential is the full ABC combo. possibly backed up with an Armed Dragon level 10, which is perfectly fine, because keep in mind, your Armed Dragon level 10 will sometimes replace itself, and even if it doesn't, you should still have 2 cards left in hand with an Infinity. So you're going to be able to do a lot with that. At the maximum, it's locking your opponent's zones down on top of that. And because you have the ability to make rank 10s, you've got additional link 2s, you've got so many different varied options in the deck, which is what I really, really like about it, is it's not a linear deck. It's not just, right, okay, I'm only going to be able to lock zones down. No, it's like, I can lock zones down, but if I can't lock zones down, I can make the new link 5 and negate everything. If I can't do that, I've still got an Omni Negate in Infinity, I've still got a Banish in Buster Dragon, and I might even have another pop in the Armed Dragon level 10. So it still gives you a lot to play around with, and it's standard with an ABC deck as well. As if you have the ability for an extender, so if you wanted to put in gold and silver gadgets, you actually have the ability to consistently make Verte Anaconda to Dragoon if you want to, or if you want to be a little bit more spicy, that's where you can go into IP Masquerena as well and utilize it that way. Anyway, I hope you like this take on the deck. I hope it's a little bit different. I definitely haven't seen anything else like this on YouTube, so I really do hope that it is, you know, it kind of gives you a couple of ideas to get the cogs turning to produce your own version of this deck as well. Or by all means, net deck it, test it, see how you feel about it, and take out different components. I'm always open to a bit of feedback. Should you have tested it and say, well, actually, I don't think this works well, or I've tested it and I think this card could be a really nice tech in the deck as well. For now, as absolutely always, guys, smash that like button, get this video up to at least 50 likes, and it will unlock another Armed Dragon version. Tomorrow, we will try and get you the Security Force profile up for you as well. If not that, we also have Metaphors, and we are going to tackle that troll deck, that meme that is War Rocks. But for now, as absolutely always, guys, stay safe and happy dueling.